Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is another episode of the Budo Brothers podcast, and we have a special guest today. One thing we want to do is inspire people to start their journey in martial arts. And we've seen this young gentleman. He's starting his fight career. He has a serious pedigree behind him, and we get to talk to a young, up-and-coming mixed martial arts athlete, Kalyl Silva. Kalyl, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Couldn't be better.
Awesome, nice. Well, thanks. I'm glad to have you on the show. One thing that we notice a lot is your training, man. You are going savage with the training right now. I know you have a fight coming up. I know you're an amateur fighter right now. What inspires you to take on this career path in mixed martial arts?
Man, being around it my whole life kind of just, motivated me to do it, I've been training my whole life, and I've always wanted to, to at least do a couple amateur fights. And, if it takes me to the professional route, which I'm hoping it does, I want to test myself, and I want to see, what I can do with this, and in terms of motivation, just seeing my dad up until, he's in almost 50 and he's still doing this at the highest level. He's training every single day. He never stops training, like, at all. Every single day he's training, and just seeing the type of dedication and the hard work that he puts in, it motivates me as well, and it's awesome to do it with him too.
Nice. Yeah, good, nice father and son bonding.
Yeah.
So martial arts has been in your DNA your whole life, I'm presuming. So
Yeah.
when did you start training? How old?
I started training at around 7, 8 years old with my brother. Like all my cousins, we all did it because the gym was very close to our house, the gym that we used to train at. And we started with Muay Thai, and then from then on, we just, kept on. And once I moved to the US, my brother started boxing. He's been boxing for a long, long time. I think that's the path that he wants to take right now. And I started boxing with him too, and then I transitioned into kickboxing, and now we're both at that right now.
Beautiful. So walk us through what your current training regimen. You're getting ready for a fight. What does it look like? Walk us through a standard training week in the Silva family.
So pretty much Mondays we wake up in the morning. We do a typical warm up, shadow boxing, and then we do boxing. And then at the end, we do a bunch of kicking, like a bunch of kicking. Sometimes we shoot for, well, right now we don't even shoot for a time. Like, we start as early as we can. And then it usually goes like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But then sometimes it could go to 3 hours, 4 hours, and it doesn't even feel too long because there's so many like little things that my dad shows us that, it just takes a little while to explain, or like, it's a bunch of little tricks, 2 hours of like hard training, and then another hour of just like explaining little things, and like, oh, you move this way, or like, if you want to go do this, you do, this thing. It's like a bunch of little things. So that's how, all of the week basically goes. And then on Fridays, we don't do hard sparring, we do technical sparring. And then Saturday, we just go on a run, and then Sunday is a rest day.
So only one rest day out of the week?
Yeah.
And rehab, do you guys focus on a lot of stretching, mobility, or
is
it just, yeah. What percentage is built into the routine?
Well, probably at the end of training, we do abs. We do a lot of abs, and then we stretch. That probably takes about an hour. Yeah. Cool. Well, probably like 40 minutes. Yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask, because martial arts is, it's a family affair. Do you find that your life is a lot different than, say, other kids that you hang out with? Are you way more regimented, or do you still get to go have fun and do things like video games? And I see that you like the ARs, shooting the airsoft. Sorry. What do you do for fun? How do you mix it in? What does it compare to other kids' lifestyle that you're friends with?
Man, a bunch of my friends that I know, they are in the same world as me. I have this kid. He's my coach's son. His name is Nico. He works harder than anybody I have ever met. You know, like sometimes I ask him the same question that you're asking me, like, bro, what do you do to, like, you know, do you just train, you know? But I have a lot of friends that that also train. So, you know, we train together, we spend time that way. And then, you know, I just play video games like Call of Duty and stuff like that in my downtime. And, you know, that's pretty much it. Play soccer, stuff like that.
Really cool.
I'm curious, what sort of focus is your meal planning and nutrition, and what are you doing on that side of things?
Man, it's crazy because my meal prepping should be a lot better than what it is right now. I like my how do I say metabolism? It's pretty like fast. Like I've been blessed to have, you know, to get my dad's side of genetics. That I don't really have to do much to lose weight. And like my last fight, I was supposed to fight at 155, and I was training, and then like I was in a strict diet plan, and then I wanted to do sauna because I was just going crazy. I was like, man, I need to make this weight. And then my coach was like, dude, relax. Like you don't need to do all that. Just like sleep it off. You probably lose about 1 to 2 pounds when you wake up. And I was like, all right. So then I went to sleep at like 156, and I woke up at 153. I was like, bro, how did that even happen? You know?
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't think about it too much, and I don't try to, you know, to obsess over the diet part of things, but I definitely need to get better at that.
Really cool. So what's the fight name you're going with? Are you going to stick to Spider? Are you going to go branch out into your own? Do you have a fight name yet?
Definitely not Spider, but I don't have one yet.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll come. When the time is right, it will just come.
How do fighters develop their fight name? I've always been curious, and it's nice because we get to be with you before you've stick. So it's interesting. Like, what do you wait for when you're developing your fight name, or what is it?
It's interesting because I never really like sat down like, okay, I need to figure this name out. Like I need to figure out a fight name. You know, like for my dad, for example, he wasn't the one that chose the Spider. When he used to fight in Pride, the announcer actually called him like the Spider because he mentioned in the backstage that he liked Spider-Man. He was wearing a Spider-Man shirt, and then she just happened to call him the Spider when she announced it, and then it just stuck. You know, but for me, I don't really know, man. I never really thought about it. My coach always calls me the Dragon, the Brazilian Dragon, and then I really like dragons, so I was like, you know, maybe we'll stick to that. I'm not sure. So
yeah,
that's a good fit.
That's not bad.
So Brazilian, are you doing a lot of jiu-jitsu?
We do jiu-jitsu once a week when we're not in camp for fighting. But we definitely stay locked in with jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah. What would you say is your strongest part, the strongest part of your game right now?
My stand-up for sure. I like kicking. I used to do a bunch of different martial arts growing up. I did taekwondo, I did judo, I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu. But kicking has always been my thing. Like I love doing taekwondo. I did it for a little while when I was like 10 years old, and then I went back to it once I moved to the US. But yeah, my kicking is for sure my strongest part of my game.
And I wanted to touch a bit on the Brazil thing. Like I look at you guys Instagram accounts and YouTube, and you guys are a typical Brazilian style family, just how you guys operate. What type of Brazilian traditions do you guys still carry forward and use? Like your dad is obviously lived there a majority of his life. You are now probably American born, correct?
No, I was born in Brazil, and I moved here when I was 12.
12.
Nice.
Okay. And so do you guys still keep a lot of the traditions from there? Do you go visit a lot? How big of an impact does Brazil have on your lifestyle?
Yeah, we visit. We try to visit once a year for the holidays because a majority of our family is out there. My cousins, uncles, everybody's out there. So we try to go out there for the holidays for sure. But one thing that will always be with us is the food, man, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I was actually looking for. What's the favorite dishes?
Man, probably feijoada, beans and rice and picanha and stuff like that. When we go out to eat, we always go to Brazilian restaurants.
Nice.
There's a bunch near where we live. So that's something that will always be with us.
Cool.
So you're putting the pieces of the puzzle together and your journey is progressing gradually. I'm curious to see, what's the North Star? Where do you want to take this? Where do you want it to go?
Man, we'll see where it takes me, man. But I just want to be able to always test myself, always go a step further than what I did previously. If that's in kickboxing, then let it be in kickboxing. But if it takes me the MMA route, let it be MMA. But I always want to take it a step further every time. So I couldn't really tell you right now the absolute end goal, because I'm just starting in my career, but I'm looking to always take it a step further. After amateur kickboxing, I want to go to professional. And, I'm still going to stay locked in with jiu-jitsu and wrestling and all of those things. And if an opportunity arises for me to transition to MMA, of course, that would, that would be it, because just that storyline of, my dad being in the UFC and then me going into the UFC and then having him there, like it would be a dream come true for me for sure.
That's really cool. And I really wanted to now dive into mindset, because mindset, if you're not a fighter, if you are a fighter, is something that is universal. And for those who don't know, you are the son of Anderson Silva, who is an amazing UFC fighter, probably one of the best pound per pound fighters to ever done it. But because of that, it casts a shadow, right? And it provides a lot of pressure for you. For somebody who may be doing martial arts, they don't really have anybody watching they can figure their way out. Can you talk about how you deal with the pressures of outside eyes expecting you to be something, but you trying to develop as a martial artist yourself?
Man, it'll always be there. The comparisons will always be there. So I kind of just try to just do my own thing. I don't really listen to the outside crowd. I cancel the noise and I don't listen to that. Because no matter if it's good or bad, there's people could come up to me and say, dude, like, you're the best, you're so good, like your dad is Anderson Silva, and that could get to your head and you're like, wow, I'm the best, like none of these guys could beat me, and like, I'm the best, and that could get to your head, and then that could be your downfall, because at the same time, they could be praising you and you're down here and you're saying you're up here, and then you let it get to your head and you can never get there, and same thing with the bad criticism. Some people, they might not even watch any of your fights, they might not even watch any of your trainings, they might not even know you, and they say, dude, like you suck, like you don't, like they could just criticize you without not even knowing you. So it's like a medium, like you need to be able to cancel out the good and the bad, and just focus on what you want to do, what I want to do and what my goals are and where I see myself. I'm always looking to improve and to be better than I was yesterday, and as long as I'm happy with myself and my performance, I don't think I could ever disappoint myself. I listen to the people that are close to me, my brother, my dad, and they'll always be honest with me and always keep me level-headed and in my place. So I'm I kind of just listen to them in order to deal with the pressure.
And how do you stay centered? Do you meditate? Do you have a morning routine? What's your practice look like?
Man, I just sometimes in the morning, I just no phones, no social media, no anything like that, and I have a vision board in my room, and I just write things in there, and I just look at that, and I just focus on that for a minute, and then I go on about my day.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Do you notice a lot of differences, because you're coming up in a fight world where social media is everything, and you have people like a Conor McGregor, who is just personality and is more of a celebrity than even a fighter right now. Do you find that it's different how you're coming up in the fight game versus to some of the older people who didn't even have these technologies before, and what do you find the differences are?
Man, 100%. I always look at that. If you look at fighters 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like they weren't, even though they were stars, if they were in today's time with social media and all of this, they would be out of here. You know, it would be so many well, I wouldn't say that, but it would be a lot of superstars, you know, in the MMA world, and then MMA would be so much bigger. And social media is a huge part of that, you know. The way fighters market themselves, like Sean O'Malley and, you know, Conor McGregor, and I feel like Ryan Garcia is another huge example of that. You know, social media just brought them into a whole different light, you know, them and the sport. And I think it's a good thing. You know, guys like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they're bringing new eyes to the sport of boxing, and I think that's very important. You know, as much as people don't like them or don't like the way they do things, it's marketing. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to help everyone else. You know, and I think that's really good.
Awesome. I'm curious to learn a little bit. Like you're training so hard and intensely. How do you deal with injuries? Because right now I'm dealing with a dislocated rib, and I'm having a hard time. I'm curious to hear how you deal with injuries.
Man, the past few months, like I injured my shoulder, my knuckles were messed up. I've broken my pinky before. Like it's tough, but it's important to have rest days, you know, as much as like my shoulder, for example. It wasn't something that completely restricted me from training, but if I'm over there like overworking it and overworking it, it's just gonna be more. It's gonna hurt more, and it's gonna be an even longer recovery. You know, so it's important to know when to stop for a little bit, because you know it's okay to stop and, you know, recover it. Take that time to heal your body. You know, so we just do ice baths. We do a lot of water workouts, just, you know, light swimming. For cardio too, we do a lot of water-based stuff, and yeah, just massage and therapy and stuff like that. You know, nothing too crazy.
Nice. As a fighter, one of the things that I always am so interested in is how you deal with fear, right? Because when you are a fighter, you are some of the best people who deal with fear, because you are literally locking yourself into a ring, a cage, and squaring off with somebody, and you have potential to get injured. How do you deal with that type of fear?
Man, my first fight, I was so nervous, man. It was crazy. Like literally, like my legs were shaking. Like I was just so nervous. I posted a video on my Instagram when my dad was behind me. He was kind of like just massaging my whole body, because I was just like super tense, you know. But I was ready to go, but I was tense. I was nervous because I was thinking of all, you know, beforehand. I was thinking of the pressure, and, you know, like, damn, like this is Anderson Silva's kid, and, you know, everybody's expecting something crazy from me, you know. And I was super tense and super nervous. But then one of the things that my dad was telling me in that moment was like, dude, you've been working so hard for this. Like nothing we did at home, nothing we did in training camp is gonna be nothing that you're gonna experience up there is gonna be harder than what we did at home and in training camp. Like you're more than ready for this. And know that I am in there with you, you know. Like even though you're gonna be fighting, you're gonna be up there, I'm also up there with you, you know. And when I was fighting, all I could hear is his voice, you know. Like everything is like zoned out, and all I could hear is him, and that helped a lot, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Just throwing yourself in the fire.
Yeah, man, just pretty much. And one of the other things that I think about is you're only gonna live once, you know. I'm only gonna get to do this once, you know. So why fear, you know? Just go up there and just do it, you know. Like why be nervous, you know? Of course you're gonna be nervous, there's no way of getting around it, but, you know, at the end of the day, I just think about it like, man, I'm only gonna do this once, so I might as well just go out there and do it, you know. Just have fun, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You have access to one of the most incredible fight minds in the world. I'm curious, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from your dad?
Just work consistent.
Hard work.
Like hard work will be anything, you know. He tells me stories that so many times he could have, you know, stopped doing this, you know, but hard work, persevering, everything, talent, everything. He wasn't the best at what he did when he was growing up, but he stayed at it, stayed consistent, worked hard, and now he is who he is. Till this day, he's almost 50, and he's still fighting and training every day. I see him train so hard every single day. And that's one of the biggest things that I take from him is hard work.
And around the house, how often are you guys fighting? Is there like a designated area, no fighting at the kitchen table? Like how does it work? This is a house of fighters. Like what's the dynamic like?
Man, it's random, bro. It could happen anywhere. No, there's no safe place in this house.
It's so funny because at some point in your life you will be a better fighter than your dad, whether that's age that does that or whatever. It must be kind of fun because everybody's an athlete and competing. So it's I could just imagine that there's a lot of fun things happen. I was watching your Instagram the other day and you had your dad put it on the Spider-Man mask.
Oh yeah,
that was hilarious. So you guys look like you have a lot of fun when you're doing and training and practicing.
Oh yeah.
And we wanted to talk about the power of martial arts itself. How do you think martial arts has benefited your life, and what values do you glean from practicing martial arts itself?
The discipline. You have to be really disciplined in order to do this, and that's one of the biggest things that I will always take with me forever. Even I'll pass it down to my kids. They like my dad always told me, I don't have to fight. I don't have to become a fighter, but it's important to train, not even for the fight itself, but for the discipline, and it's always something that I'm going to pass it on for my kids as well,
So discipline, and obviously discipline is required for martial arts, but has that translated into your everyday life?
Oh yeah. 100%. Even down to being on time for things, that it has benefited me in so many ways. My health, staying in shape, and man, there's so many things. It's not just fighting, like even somebody like me posting these trainings, of me training with my dad, or even training by myself. There's so many messages that I get from people like, man, like you motivate me to get up and go do something, not even fighting, it could be something completely different, and I think that it motivates people to do things, whether it's fighting or something else is good to, man, there's so many things. It's so many things. I just, if I had to say something to the world, is just, even if you don't like fighting, even if you don't want to be a fighter, just go out there and try it. It's gonna help you with so many different things. Your mental health, everything is just, you're gonna feel alive, even if you don't want to fight.
It has that magic. It really does.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is an amazing place to leave it. So for people who want to tune in and follow you and your journey, I know you have a fight coming up. Can you tell us a little about when that's happening, where to find you, what social channels to reach out to? Fill us in on how people can keep updated on your story.
Yeah, so the fight is gonna be April 30th. It's on for Fighters Rap, the promotion. You could check them out at Fighters Rap on Instagram. There you find tickets and stream everything that you need for the fight. You're gonna find it there. And my socials are at Kalyl Silva, Kalyl Silva, on Instagram and TikTok, Twitch as well, and YouTube. So check me out and I'm there.
Fantastic. Well, we're tuned in, and we're really excited about watching your journey unfold. And thank you for taking the time to share your story, and it's an honor. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next week.